This is the first comprehensive display of the artwork of Norman Rockwell in the 100-year history of the Museum of Fine Arts Houston. So Norman Rockwell considered himself a chronicler of the time. Everything was really through his small-town northeastern lens. He wanted to capture these sort of moments in America. He wanted to capture them with everyday people, everyday scenes, i.e. the people around him, and infuse them with this sense of optimism. Norman Rockwell, American Freedom, will walk visitors essentially through a key part of Norman Rockwell's career, starting in the 1930s, where Rockwell's storytelling and optimism is on sort of full view. Right away, we want our viewers to kind of get that understanding of him and look at his art in terms of sort of the meticulous detail, the extraordinary ability to draw a figure and capture that sort of realism. And then we move through into World War II, where the For Freedom pictures will be a real focus.
We look forward to a world founded upon four essential human freedom.
Franklin Roosevelt gave an address to Congress in January of 1941. The focus of the actual address was really about sort of the Lend-Lease Act, but at the very end of the address, he outlined four essential freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear for everyone, everywhere in the world. And it was really his way of kind of suggesting a purpose for America's greater involvement in World War II. The government put forward these sort of challenges to artists to help visualize the four freedoms, to help Americans understand these words and make them less abstract. And so there were a lot of artists interpreting the four freedoms. I think it's just that Rockwell's interpretation is the one that was the most successful. As soon as they sort of came out in this 4-week series in the Saturday Evening Post, they became recognizable. Shortly thereafter, the government, along with the Saturday Evening Post, put together a war bond show where these images would be part of a campaign to raise war bond and stamp funds. The traveling show, which went to numerous cities around the U.S., was visited by more than 1 million people and also raised more than $133 million. We have a separate exhibition titled The Four Freedoms Reimagined. There are 4 large-scale photographs of the artist's sort of responses to the Four Freedoms by Norman Rockwell, using contemporary models, but using that sort of aesthetic of Norman Rockwell. We also have a number of works by some of his contemporary artists, some other illustrators such as Mead Schaefer, and then we have fantastic Great Depression era and World War II photography from the museum's collection. Then the final part of the exhibition will focus on his 1960s social justice images. The highlight of that gallery is The Problem We All Live With, that iconic painting of Ruby Bridges. I hope that the visitors walk away having a greater sense of Norman Rockwell as an artist. So many of us know his images and are so familiar with his images from reproduction, but when you see his work in person, actually seeing the paintings physically is something much more powerful. You get this much greater sense of him as a master technician, as a wonderful draftsman, as a storyteller, and as someone who really cares about the human experience.